About to give them what they want. I don't think they're ready for this though. Beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode.
What's good, YouTube? You know who it is. Chris Jones, representing Pump Chasers, and you already know. Go to TigerFitness.com and get your Pump Chaser subs. We got that GAF Way, that Cuts FTS. You know we got those Intra Pump BCAAs with electrolytes. That Pump and Grind pre-workout. Hurry on down. Come on down to TigerFitness.com. Also, if you like my t-shirt right here, that Ho Ready Legend featuring Serge Nubray, you know, about their life hoodies. You want a workout program, you want to be an online client, head on down to Beastmode316.com. Holla at your boy. So guys, let's get to today's video. So this video is a response to Layne Norton's video. He made this video about a week or two ago. It's called Stretching Does Not Reduce Injury, So What Does? Before we begin, for those that are unaware, Layne Norton has a PhD in nutritional science and a bachelor's in biochemistry. He's well respected in the lifting community, therefore he has the power of influence in this community. He has a voice in this community. There are a lot of people that will literally hang on to his every word just based off of who he is alone. Which brings me to the point of my video. I disagree with some statements that were made in his video. So I decided to make a video addressing the things that I disagree with. Now, Layne Norton, if you happen to see this video, I've seen you publicly challenge your peers to a debate. So I got a question for you. Can I get some action? If you disagree with anything I say in this video, we can hop on a debate, a live chat. We will record the chat, the debate live with absolutely no editing, and the video will go up on YouTube as is. I'm ready today. I'm ready tomorrow, anytime you're ready. I've seen you call out people that have college degrees.
This week, I don't know who this chick is, but she was on Lewis Howes, I think it's Howes, podcast, and a lot of people sent this to me, so let's see what she has to say.
Sugar and flour and food addiction is harder than drug and alcohol addiction.
I do understand what she's trying to say, which is it's very hard to beat an eating disorder, we'll say. I'm not going to call it food addiction because there's really very little evidence for food addiction.
I've seen you call out people with no college degree.
What's up, guys? We're back. It's Friday. I'm smiling. And why is that? Because we get to debunk some bullshit. We have a video from Eddie Abu. Now, Eddie was an IFBB pro bodybuilder back in the day, back when I first got into bodybuilding. And I wouldn't say he was like one of my favorite bodybuilders, but I thought he had awesome physique. And now, in retirement, he spends his days talking nonsense. Let's see what he has to say.
Ways to boost muscle growth. Eat more eggs. An egg, when you eat an egg, 48% of the egg can become tissue. When you eat protein powders, whey protein.
Wait. Where did he come up with these numbers?
You've called out a wide range of people. So as far as I'm concerned, you're willing to debate anybody that has a platform that you disagree with. And I fall right under that category. I have a platform and I disagree with some things that you said in this video. I might not have a PhD, but facts are facts, regardless of who the messenger is. One thing that I like about your videos is you seem to respect the data. Respect the data to the fullest, and I can't do nothing but respect that. Math is the language of the universe after all, and when you have facts that you can actually measure, you literally have the light of truth right in front of your eyes. And when you have received the truth, the universe has spoken. It's facts. Facts over feelings. I love this game. I really do. All right, so let's talk about this video. I really like the choice of words you used at the beginning of this video. You said there's no way to prevent injury.
Now, before I get started, I want to point out there is nothing you can do to prevent an injury, but you can reduce your risk of an injury. And a lot of people struggle with the concept of risk reduction versus prevention. If you don't want to get injured, don't get out of bed in the morning.
You said we can't prevent injury, but what we can do is reduce our chances of injury. And I absolutely agree with that. Some things just can't be guaranteed 100%. But what we can do is increase or decrease our chances. We can increase or decrease the percentage of risk by using methods that are backed by the numbers. In your video, you used a few studies as an attempt to back your claims that stretching does not reduce the chances of injury. First off, those studies do not prove that stretching does not reduce the chance of injury. And quite frankly, some things are very hard to measure and quantify, especially when we're talking about things that are internal, especially when we're talking about things that vary from person to person, situation to situation. Some things are just hard to measure. That's why we can't always depend on some studies to confirm things that we're feeling. Sometimes we need to use some common sense and some logic. There are a list of factors that can contribute to a person getting injured. Just like a recipe for baking a cake, there is a list of ingredients used to bake that cake. There's also a recipe for disaster as well. The injury is just like a recipe. It could come from pouring a little bit of that with a little dash of this, adding in and mixing in some of these. You forgot to add in some of those. It's a recipe. A lot of times, injuries are not just caused by one thing. It could be a combination of a lot of things. Listen to this clip right here.
Let's talk about the injuries I've gone through. 2 herniated discs in my lumbar spine, 2 bulge discs in my lumbar spine, 2 herniated discs in my cervical spine, a fully torn right pectoral that required surgery in 2008, a partially torn left pectoral, partially torn left adductor, partial muscle tears in both of my hips.
Listen to all the injuries Layne has accumulated just from lifting weights. Based off all these injuries you have accumulated just from lifting weights, that tells me you're in no position to be trying to tell me how to reduce my chances of injury. There are people out there that are much more qualified to give that kind of information. However, Layne has been hurt numerous times and he has bounced back.
Partially torn left adductor, partial muscle tears in both of my hips. And yet, a few weeks ago, I squatted over 600 pounds and deadlifted over 700 pounds. How is this possible? Any one of those things, people would say, well, that's a career-ending injury. Well, we know that the human body is actually quite resilient.
So when it comes to teaching people how to bounce back from an injury and come back strong, I believe he's definitely the guy. He's definitely shown and proved he can bounce back from an injury. I've seen it myself. But when it comes down to reducing injury, reducing the chance of injury, I'm going to say absolutely not. Definitely not qualified. And not just because he's made mistakes. The reason why I feel he's not the one to talk to about reducing your chances of injury is because he still shows lack of accountability for his actions. Layne, you have directly contributed to your own injuries with your own actions. And you still show lack of acknowledgement for that. You see, lack of acknowledgement shows lack of accountability. And lack of accountability shows lack of growth. We all make mistakes. We learn from our mistakes and we move forward. But when you show lack of accountability as a leader, as an influencer, that's a red flag. Listen to this right here. Listen to this.
There is nothing you can do to prevent an injury, but you can reduce your risk of an injury. However, if you train hard enough, long enough, the likelihood is you will get injured at some point. The likelihood is you will get injured at some point. That is how this works.
That is a terrible message to put out to your audience. There are people that have been lifting weights for decades that have never been seriously injured. Maybe some little aches and pains here and there, but nothing serious like a torn muscle or a spinal injury. That is a terrible message to put out on your platform.
That is how this works.
That is a terrible message to put out on your platform. You have a high level of influence on a lot of souls out here. Telling potentially new lifters that they're going to experience some type of injuries down the line just because they train hard is irresponsible, to say the least. Just because you went to Snap City, as the Hodge twins would say.
That shit is one-way ticket to Snap City, man. Yeah. This is a one-way ticket to Snap City, I'm telling you. Snap, 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 snap.
Just because you went to Snap City numerous times from lifting weights does not mean the general public of lifters is going to experience the same fate. As influencers, we should not be planting those type of seeds, putting those type of messages in people's heads.
If you train hard enough, long enough, the likelihood is you will get injured at some point. That is how this works.
I'm gonna put it on the screen for you guys. On Instagram, someone in Layne's comment section called him out. They pretty much challenged what Layne said in his video. Here's on the screen. Let me see right here. The man in the comment section said, Tom Purvis disagrees with these statements. And this is what Layne said. Layne said, appeal to authority. As you see, Layne made a sarcastic response. The guy in the comment section, he made a valid point. Like it or not, Layne, that guy made a valid point. Now, for some of you guys and gals that are unaware, Tom Purvis is someone that is respected, highly respected in the personal training game. I have this quote, and this quote goes like this: I only take notes from the GOATs. I want to be well-rounded mentally, physically, and spiritually. So I try to get knowledge from a variety of credible sources. I want knowledge from a variety of angles. You know, just like with food, you want a balanced diet so you can get all of your essential nutrients. Knowledge is food as well. Knowledge is food for the mind. So I seek knowledge from a variety of sources. Now check out this clip right here. We need to talk about the difference between weightlifting and resistance training. Guys, it's not even the same ballpark. Some of you guys, including myself, have done a lot of weightlifting. We have not done a lot of resistance training. I got 10 pounds on a fishing scale. Now look at the, keep in mind the chain weighs, so it's a little bit past 10. You got that focus, brother? Y'all see that red line? You see it? Buddy, you got it focused? Now look, y'all keep your eye on this line. Look at this. It pretty much stays the same, right? It stayed in that line, right? No matter how high I go, as long as I'm steady, it pretty much stays where it's at. No matter how low I go, it pretty much stays steady, correct? Now look at this. What happens when you bounce it? What happens when you bounce it? That's just all over the fucking place. Like I told you about the incline bench. Depending on how fast or how slow you lower your reps, that completely changed how much stress you're putting on your muscle. As you see, I used the fish scale to get my point across in that video. I actually learned that years ago from Tom Purvis. So it was kind of cool to see somebody in the comment section mention that name.
Let's talk about resistance in general. You need to understand the physics of resistance and the mechanics of its application. And I want you to see what happens to the red arrow. So come on in here for a second. I want you to take a look at this and see if we can get this coordinated for you. I've got a 5-pound weight. So
you see, the laws of physics applies to everything in this physical world. And that includes weightlifting, as you see. That includes weightlifting. So controlling the tempo when you lift weights, controlling the negative, you're going to get more out of the weight you're using. You're going to feel it more. You're going to put more stress on the muscles. And when you lift the weights properly, not only will you stress the muscles more, but it's better on your tendons and ligaments. It's better on your connective tissue in the long run. It's actually funny because Serge Nubret, this man right here, he was already preaching technique, trying to achieve the perfect form decades ago. He was already preaching this shit decades ago. Like I said, I only take notes from the GOATs, and I get my knowledge from a wide range of sources. So Dr. Layne here is under the impression that working out hard, training hard with weights is going to make you more likely to get injured. That's pretty much like saying expect to get injured somewhere down the line if you train hard in the gym with weights. His words, not mine.
That is how this works.
Again, that is not a good message to put out. Like Tom Purvis says, movement is the medicine.
I'm talking to people with some sense out there and don't have the same goals or the same tolerance, but guys, exercise is supposed to be the medicine. It's not supposed to require medicine or surgery
As bodybuilding enthusiasts, people who train for bodybuilding purposes, we should be in the gym. The goal should be to build our bodies, not break them down, not destroy them. And the fact that this man commented in your comment section, he gave you feedback, he used Tom Purvis' name, and you blew him off the way you blew him off by being sarcastic, that says a lot about you as an influencer. That says a lot about the type of voice that you want to be for this industry. Now, to some degree, we all have an ego, but it's blatantly obvious that Layne Norton has an ego. And this does not surprise me one bit. I already knew years ago about your ego, Layne. By the way, we'll talk a little bit about that later in this video. Let's get back to the topic. Another example of your lack of accountability is you said you were hurt due to stress and lack of sleep.
I go back and look at where my injury problems started. They didn't start until my life hit a very, very, very stressful spot personally. When I was sleeping 8 hours a night, when I was training at my favorite time of day, when I wasn't traveling a ton, and when I was making that the main focus, the amount of volume I could tolerate was insane. I could squat 4 times a week. I could deadlift 2 to 3 times a week. I could bench 4 times a week with heavy weights, high volume, because I was setting myself up to where I was recovering optimally. And then I had a very stressful point in my life. I was more stressed during the day, and we do see that stress can bleed into other areas. I was sleeping less and I was not recovering as well, but I was still trying to do the same stuff, and that is where I started getting injured and dealing with pain.
Come on, Dr. Layne. You've been on YouTube for 15 plus years. So I'm pretty sure you got a lot of new eyes on you. But believe it or not, there are some of us still around, myself included. There are some of us still around that still remember those videos from back in the day. Some of us still around that have been watching you for years. And we still remember one of the biggest reasons why you got hurt. It was your squat form. It was that squat form. Remember guys, it's a recipe. So it's not just one thing that got Layne Norton injured. But one of the major reasons was flaws in the squatting technique. I remember when you'll post yourself squatting PRs, right? Showing your feats of strength, and people would call you out in your technique, and your comment was pretty much like the comment we just saw earlier. You blew them off and you were being very sarcastic. I remember this shit like it was yesterday. Matter of fact, we on Layne Norton's page right now. As you see, Dr. Layne Norton, right? Let's see the year of this video. Like I said, I remember this shit like it was yesterday. Look right here. 2012, guys. Y'all see that? 2012. Now check this out, guys. Check this technique out. Now as you see, guys, Layne Norton is low bar squatting and he has a massive forward lean. Now the forward lean is not the issue. Remember guys, remember, the laws of physics apply to lifting weights. The bar must travel along the center of mass. Since Layne Norton has long femurs in relation to his torso, he has no choice but to have a large forward lean. But the issue is not the forward lean. The issue is lack of spinal integrity. This is a very vulnerable position for the lower back to be in. It's a must that you maintain spinal integrity. Now we actually talked about spinal integrity on this channel about a week or two ago. You must maintain spinal integrity when you're free weight squatting. That's a crucial factor of squatting. Ankle mobility and bracing that core. So the spine not only has to be stable side to side, but it has to be stable front to back. Front to back. That's where the rounding happens. Now look closer at Layne's form. Let's run that back. Let's run that back just a little bit. You'll see it, guys. You might miss it because it happens so fast. But believe it or not, that little detail matters. Like they say, the devil is in the details, guys. The devil is in the details. If you want to avoid those setbacks, those negative setbacks, you have to watch those little details, because it's those little details that will fuck you every time. All right, Layne has weight on his back. He has all this weight on his back coming down already. Then as you see, look at that. You saw what that happened? You saw how after he came at the bottom, his back went damn near parallel with the ground. See, he already had a forward lean. Then he leaned farther down. When you lean farther down, when you let your lower back dip like that, your lower back is going to be fired up. It's going to be fired up isometrically, and it's going to be fighting to get back in the position it just was at. So it's going to have to extend a little bit under load. So he's pretty much doing a good morning in a squat blended together. Believe it or not, just that little shift sent shock waves down his spine. You must maintain spinal integrity at all times, especially when you got a really big forward lean. When you got a really big forward lean, you really got to maintain spinal integrity. You got to keep that back nice and stiff. Keep that core nice and braced. Y'all see that? Some of y'all probably missed that shit, but that's what got him hurt, guys. Now look at this clip right here. Now look at this right here. Read this. His words, not mine. He says, yes, I know I squat with a forward lean. Blah, blah, blah. As you see, the same sarcastic behavior. This was 2012. Again, a lack of accountability shows a lack of growth. Yes, I know I squat with a forward lean. Blah, blah, blah. It's called a low bar squat. Deal with it. You see, the man can't take any criticism. Now fast forward, we are in 2023. And fun fact, I watched some of Layne Norton's current videos, and based off those videos, his squat form has improved. And he got a record in powerlifting recently. Like I said earlier, he knows how to bounce back from injuries for sure. But facts are still facts, regardless of your feelings. Layne injured himself for having lack of respect for the laws of physics and having lack of respect for his own body. Speaking of GOATs, one of my favorite quotes from Nikola Tesla is, "What one man calls God, another calls the laws of physics." And when you're lifting weights, especially heavy weights, and you're not respecting the laws of physics, you will be punished one way or another. You will suffer the consequences one way or another. People ask me all the time, what is my definition of ego lifting? My definition of ego lifting is when you're so focused on moving the weight that you completely neglect proper technique. You want to move a weight so bad that you don't care how you move it. Homies and homettes, we must check our egos. Let me tell you something. That ego can humble you one day if you're not careful. But let's just pretend for a moment. Let's just pretend for a moment that your injuries were just due to lack of sleep. Okay, that's still your fault. Sleep, rest, recovery, that is still a major part of overall programming protocols. Things like mesocycles, reps in reserve, RPEs, progressive overloading principles, timing your deloads, those are not the only things involved in creating an optimal training program. Recovery is also a huge part of programming, a crucial part of programming. So, bad squatting technique and less than optimal programming. Bad squatting technique and less than optimal programming are two factors that got him hurt. A little bit of stress, a sprinkle of bad form, pouring in some less than optimal programming, whip it up, bam, you got a recipe for an injury. Dr. Layne, people were calling you out for your flawed technique for years.
And yeah, he's still defending it, talking about his biomechanics and his long femurs, when the truth is, tons of coaches have stepped in already and said, look, Layne's squat form is an abomination. All right, his technique is terrible. His technique is contributing to his injuries. Yes, it's allowing him to lift a lot of weight because of the way he trains. All right, because of his biomechanics, yes, it's allowing him to lift more weight the way that he's lifting. But it is hurting him. It is dangerous and it's stupid.
As you see, I used Jason Blaha's clip. I could have used anybody. I purposely used Jason Blaha's clip for a reason. Like I said earlier, there are still some people around, myself included, that remember your old videos. And I got a damn good memory. There are still some of us out here that still remember your bad form, that still remember your ego, and remember the bad blood between you and Jason Blaha. Remember how I said earlier, I knew you had an ego years ago? You want to know how I knew you had an ego? When you wasted and you blew all that money trying to sue Jason Blaha for some things he said on YouTube. This is public knowledge. You placed yourself in financial strain trying to sue this man. You know, sometimes we gotta know when to lick our wounds and just move on. Sometimes we gotta know when to just count our losses and move on. But sometimes that ego, it won't allow us to make the most logical decisions. That ego will allow your pride to take over and allow your emotions to get in the way of you being logical. That ego is a motherfucker. Ego in the gym can fuck you up. Ego outside the gym can fuck you up, especially in personal life situations. This is one of the many reasons why the greatest ancient spiritual teachers would preach over and over and over about taming the ego, not letting your lower self control you, tapping into the higher mind. But that's a whole other topic for a whole other day. Now back to what you said about stress affecting your sleep patterns and being the root cause of your injuries. Okay, so it sounds like you could have used some stress relief. So you know what reduces stress? Meditation. I saw you on Andrew Huberman's podcast. He's a neuroscientist. Ask him for yourself. Ask him for yourself about the benefits of breath work and meditation. Breath work and meditation is proven to reduce your stress levels. Great for your mental health. You know what else reduces stress? Stretching. Stretching. So in a way, you have contradicted yourself with your own words. You claim, like I said, we're going to believe this. You claim stress was the root cause of your injuries.
And then I had a very stressful point in my life. I was more stressed during the day, and we do see that stress can bleed into other areas. I was sleeping less and I was not recovering as well, but I was still trying to do the same stuff, and that is where I started getting injured and dealing with pain.
So it sounds like if you could have received less stress, chances of injury would have dropped. Well, guess what? Stretching reduces stress, so therefore stretching can reduce your chance of injury, not prevent injury. Stretching can reduce stress. That will help you get better sleep, and that will reduce your chance of injury. Reduce. The muscular system is an organ system. So applying direct stress to the muscles will give you a hormonal response. Muscle contractions releases a hormone called myokines. It's all energy. Energy has negative and positive. Notice we have negative eccentric contractions and we have positive concentric contractions, negative and positive. That's because movement is your energy in motion. But there is also a third muscular contraction, the isometric contraction. Isometric contractions are also called static. Peep the wordplay. Static holds. Don't forget, energy works both ways. Negative and positive, those are the opposites. What is the opposite of a static contraction? What is the opposite of a static hold? The direct opposite of a static hold is a static stretch. Remember, stress on the muscle, like a muscular contraction, releases hormones. It gives you a hormonal response. Well, a static stretch also applies stress, a different kind of stress, but a stress. Static stretching applies direct stress to the muscles. And since you're applying direct stress to the muscles, you're also getting a hormonal response. Stretching releases hormones as well. Hormones like serotonin, dopamine, endorphins. These hormones have stress reducing effects. So stretching can literally help a lifter reduce, not prevent, reduce their chance of injury. And that's what the whole argument's about. It's not about preventing, right? You can't 100% guarantee anything. You can't prevent anything, but what you can do is reduce the risk. And it's obvious that stretching can do that. Again, stretching can help reduce stress. That can help you get better sleep. And when you get better sleep, you're more alert and more focused in the gym. And you must be alert, focused, and well rested, because as you see in that video, guys, you must maintain spinal integrity. Really, all lifts matter. When it comes to form, all lifts matter. You gotta have good form for everything you do, especially heavy compounds, but especially when it comes to heavy squats. To maintain spinal integrity, you have to be fully conscious. You have to consciously use your mind and brace your core to maintain spinal integrity throughout the whole set. If you allow your spine to relax and round forward just for a split second, chances are you were not mentally focused and engaged on that area. You allowed your mind to get relaxed. You must stay fully engaged mentally. That's why it's called mind, body, spirit. You gotta be fully all in. You gotta have your mind fully tap into that set, guys. Staying fully in tune with your neuromuscular system requires you to have a high level of focus. So yes, sleep is definitely important, which is why it's a part of your programming protocols. Sleep, rest, recovery is part of programming. Just like lifting weights, progressive overload, deloading, RIR, RPEs, all of this shit's combined is part of your programming. So to any of my fellow lifters out there that might be dealing with some stress, you might want to try doing a full stretch routine before bed. Maybe like a 15 to 30 minute stretch routine before bed. Maybe 3 times a week. Let me tell you, shit might change your life. You said one way to reduce injury is to get more sleep. No shit.
Layne, you say stretching doesn't help prevent injuries. What does? Well, there are a few things you can do that have shown significant risk reductions in the risk of injury. And one of the biggest ones is sleep. Sleep. Sleep.
Central nervous system fatigue is a very real thing. You know, but I feel like telling somebody to get more sleep is the same thing as telling somebody to stay hydrated. Lack of hydration can increase your risk of injury too. And if you want to decrease your risk of injury, make sure you're very well hydrated. I personally, and this is just my opinion, I personally feel like somebody with a PhD, they should be putting us on some top-notch game. Not just telling us the same shit we've been hearing from several trainers for years. I mean, I don't know a lot of trainers that's not telling us to get sleep. I think by now, sleep is common sense. You have a PhD in nutritional science, so I'm actually surprised that you didn't bring up having a balanced diet as a tool to reduce your chance of injury. A balanced diet that has fish oils added, specifically the EPA and DHA. Notice in this clip right here that I'm about to show, in this clip right here, you were talking about a study. And in this study, they gave people high dosage of fish oils, specifically EPA and DHA. And in this study, what they noticed, there were some people that hit strength PRs in the gym. Not only did they hit strength PRs in the gym, but they did it without gaining any measurable size and muscle mass.
What's up, guys? We're back with another educational video, and this week we're talking about fish oil. So each day the subjects got 4.5 grams of fish oil capsules that contained 2.3 grams of EPA and 1.6 grams of DHA. But they didn't see increases in lean body mass. So the question becomes, where did this increase in strength come from? If it wasn't lean body mass, is fish oil doing something neuromuscularly? Or was there an increase in muscle mass that wasn't detected by lean mass?
Now think about it, guys. We were always taught a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle. So somebody getting stronger without noticing a difference in muscle mass? How did this happen?
Where did this increase in strength come from?
Energy is everything. And everything is energy. Light waves literally carry energy and information with it. Fish oils are good for your brain health. And a healthier brain is going to help you produce stronger brain waves. And these stronger brain waves will carry over to a better performance in the gym. Because again, working out is literally your energy in motion. We literally have light vibrating within us. Neurons, brain waves are literally light waves. Light waves that carry energy and information to every cell in our body. A healthier brain will help you stay more focused and push harder in the gym. There are many tools that we can use that will help us reduce our chances of injury, and you didn't even mention them. However, if we do debate, I'll be sure to bring those things up. And I'll be sure to bring my data, because we know how much you love the data, how much you love the research. Now let's get back to the stretching. Stretching also puts direct stress on the tendons. It increases blood flow to the muscles and the connective tissues. That is good for recovery as well. So not only is stretching good for stress, but it's good for recovery as well. As they say, life is in the blood, which means healing is also in the blood. Blood flow has its benefits. Stretching also reduces stiffness and increases flexibility over time. Increased flexibility will give you increased mobility. Notice on squats, ankle flexibility is a crucial part of squatting. This is one of the reasons why you see so many people, either they'll place some weight under their heels when they're squatting, or they'll be wearing some squat shoes. Ankle flexibility is a crucial part of squatting. It can actually be a limiting factor. So, stretching can increase flexibility. Increased flexibility can increase your mobility. And increased mobility will reduce, not prevent, increased mobility will reduce your chance of injury. Also, the more you practice stretching and you get good at it, you have a deeper connection with your body. And a deeper connection with your body, that's going to improve your mind-muscle connection. And when you have a deeper mind-muscle connection, your form is going to improve. And what you're going to notice as a lifter, somebody who's a bodybuilding enthusiast, you're going to notice as you become more in tune with your body, you can actually have a damn good workout. You can actually get some really strong, really powerful contractions in your muscles with less weight. Not telling you to go to the gym, lift no stupid light weight or nothing like that. All I'm saying is you're going to notice you might not need as much weight as you think on certain lifts. Once you get very in tune with your body and you can really contract and squeeze your muscles with every single rep, you're going to notice a huge difference. And that's going to reduce your chance of injury by default. You're going to be in that gym controlling the negative more, becoming more one with the weights, really making the sweetest love to those muscles. Using the laws of physics to your advantage, not disadvantage. Using the laws of physics to your advantage. So stretching reduces stress, increases mobility, and helps you get a deeper connection, a better mind-muscle connection. Those three things alone prove that stretching can help reduce your chance of injury. Not prevent, reduce. Notice in the gym, we build our muscles up from applying stress on our muscles using weights. When lifting, the part of the repetition that gives us the most growth, the part of the rep that gives us the most growth is loading in the stretched position. I'm pretty sure Layne can confirm that. Loading the muscle in the stretched position is where the most hypertrophy is going to occur when lifting weights. So not only is there benefits to loading your muscles in the stretched position, there's also benefits to stretching without weights, to just stretching your muscles in general. So stretching with weights can help us, and stretching without weights can help us too. Recovery is part of programming. Don't forget that, children. Recovery is part of programming, just as important as lifting. You can't get better and come back for more and train harder than last time. You can't train harder than last time if you didn't properly recover from the last time. I could go on and on, guys, but honestly, I feel like this video is long enough. I'm pretty sure this video is long enough. I have nothing against Dr. Layne Norton, and for the most part, his work in this community over the years has been much appreciated. I've seen him call out some people, quite frankly, that needed to be called out. His work over the years is much appreciated. However, I feel some of the statements he made in this video is very irresponsible for somebody that has a high influence over others, for somebody that has a large platform like he has. And if he disagrees with anything I've said in this video, I'm ready to debate today, tomorrow, whenever he's ready. Hit me up anytime. I actually held back in this video because, again, I think this video is too long. I think this is long enough. I think I got my point across, but I actually held back. Don't forget to like my shit, comment, subscribe, and buy 30 of them bitches. Holla back at your boy. Peace. We need a moment of silence before we fuck up these weights.